Good morning. Welcome to a premium public video discussion for Friday, March 10th, 2023. We have a lot to talk about, a lot going on. We're going to focus in on the two storms that are going to be impacting our region. One for tonight, that's already starting to approach, and the other one for Monday and Tuesday that is very complicated, and there's a lot of moving parts, and we're going to discuss all of it. But currently, right now, we have observations that would suggest plenty of cold air in place, at least for this time of year, ranging from the mid to upper 20s over your far northern interior, and your cold spots in your Poconos and Catskills and Hudson River Valley, lower to mid 30s in a lot of your suburbs, and mid to upper 30s in your urban areas. Right now we have cloudy skies. Clouds are increasing. No sign of precipitation in the observations yet, but the radar is certainly active, and that's because we have plenty of dry air, and that is inhibiting the development of precipitation, which was expected. But it's also starting to cool the atmosphere as this low pressure system starts to organize. Now, the initial start of this low pressure system was pretty much focused over the central Great Lakes, which we could see very clearly here over Michigan, Ohio, northern Ohio, starting to move into Lake Erie, northwestern Pennsylvania. So this low pressure system is starting to get its act together, and what it's going to do is going to jump from here to here. So you have a weak surface representation here, here, and down here, but all of that is going to reorganize off the New Jersey coast and allow for this precipitation shield to basically drop south and pivot and then exit out over the next 12 hours. And you could see in our current situation with our temperature regime, this is the wet bulb temperature. This is where we're heading towards when we cool the atmosphere if we had heavy precipitation right now. So this is what the potential is. As we go on through the day, though, because of the March sun, that potential rapidly degrades. And this is a theme that we're going to be talking a lot about over the next 5 days. The influence of the sun angle from the March sun on the forecast for these storms. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So we have this evolution taking place at 925 millibars, plenty of cold air. So the mid-levels are plenty cold enough all the way down to the Jersey Shore. We're not expecting snowfall down to the Jersey Shore, but you get an idea of the structure of the atmosphere. This is a structure that would support wet snow, your really cold air, where you would support your dry snow, your snow ratios of 12 to 1, 14 to 1, are all back here, okay? During this time of year, what you really want for real snow accumulation to really pile up everywhere is for your 850 millibar temperature to be around -6 to -8, somewhere in there. Even in the heart of winter, you want to be in that zone because that's where your best snow growth is. But overall, you're still cold enough to support a wet snow development, okay? And you can see the 850 millibar low that's currently over the Great Lakes and Ohio River Valley. This will jump towards the coast and allow for that precipitation shield to pivot as well. And we can also see at 700 millibars, this 700 millibar low, when it redevelops off the coast as this ridge axis exits, that's what's going to set up our precipitation for this evening. So the forecast overall is working out pretty nicely. There are a couple of tweaks I'm going to mention I might have to make in the afternoon update as the storm develops. I typically don't like to make changes to an impact map, but there's a couple things that I'm noticing that will have to be addressed, which I'll talk about in this video. But before we go any further, let's discuss what the pattern really is. This is a very progressive pattern. It's a fast-moving pattern. Okay? This is a type of situation where, yes, we have a negative NAO block, nice 50-50 low right around here. Here's 50 north, 50 west, and it's pretty close to getting there. So that's in pretty good position. So you have your first storm here, and then here's your next storm. This storm right here is extremely vigorous. I mean, look at this. Plenty of energy. You can see plenty of lifting associated with this storm. Very cold air aloft. this is going to be part of the subtropical jet stream. So this feature drops south. So what type of pattern is this? It's an active one, progressive one, fast one. So when we start to look at the potential for an upper level low to capture a low pressure system, keep that in the back of your mind as well. It's going to be something that we're going to have to consider as we move forward. So again, very progressive, fast moving pattern, fast moving storm for this one. And everything's kind of setting up right now where we have a pretty good support of what we're expecting with this storm evolving here and dropping towards the coastal plain. Pretty good indication here of the PVA shifting towards the coastal plain. So everything is pretty much working out as expected on the observations. And as that low pressure system redevelops towards the coast, you can see the strong PVA tonight rapidly pushing off the coast. Fast moving, very fast moving. Same thing at 700 millibars and 850 millibars. This is booking. So we're also going to see a little bit more cold air transport with this system. So what I'm seeing in this setup is that temperatures are just going to be marginal, just going to be supportive enough to support some snow accumulation tonight. Not necessarily tomorrow morning. So when I consider these factors, the way I see this storm taking shape is that for New Jersey coast, this is just rain. For zone 3, your snow, if you see anything on grass, and don't blink because it's going to melt just as fast, is going to happen early tomorrow morning. Okay, so if you're traveling this evening, most this is going to be rain with temperatures above freezing. But as we slide towards freezing, slide towards 32, 33 degrees, you'll have a couple of slick spots around New York City, around Long Island, especially in the interior portions of Long Island, central New Jersey, Philadelphia metro. A little bit further north, Lancaster, Harrisburg, this is where I'm going 1 to 3 inches. Allentown to I-80, this area is a bit tricky because I have some support of strong lifting, and around this area, let me pull up this time period, you do have 850 millibar thermal gradient, and this would support convective snowfall. So what I'm thinking around Allentown, right in this area here, this is basically where it's going to be a bit of a troublesome forecast. I like the idea of 3 or 4 inches on grass, but I think this is going to be a lot of wet roadways because boundary layer temperatures are very iffy. Okay, the rest of this forecast, elevation dependent, is looking pretty good. 3 to 6 inches, 1 to 4 inches on the roadways. I'm probably going to debate, as I look at some of the HIR guidance, of pushing this zone a little bit further north towards I-80, riding I-80, and putting Allentown in that 1 to 3 inch zone. So I'm going to study some of the more data, but that's the one part of the forecast that has a good chance of seeing some changes. The rest of the forecast is pretty much straightforward. Our low pressure system dives towards the coastal borders and rapidly exits. Your best lifting will dive with it. That's why we don't see this 3 to 6 inches extending all the way through eastern New England, because the lifting for it exits out and clears out. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that, and I'll have updates on this map as we move on through the morning, and we'll make the adjustments if needed, depending on what I'm seeing with the guidance. So that's Storm 1. That clears out. Storm 2, well, that's a little bit more interesting. Let's take a look at the 500 millibar pattern again. These are 500 millibar heights, and what I have here is the European, the GFS ensembles, and 2 European ensembles. One from the 18Z, which I'm not really too worried about, and the other one from 0Z from last night. And as the storm evolves, we all have at 90 hours, This is Monday afternoon. Very strong agreement of a neutral tilt trough over Michigan. And I said this was important because if it remained positive, there's no way that the storm would be able to be captured. So now we answer that question. There is very strong support, very strong agreement that this storm will be captured. But we are still dealing with a rather progressive pattern. So that creates even more questions. Okay, so we have the capture here. We see it take place. All guidance agrees. But one very interesting detail is starting to show up. The capture doesn't become completed until the storm is basically in the Gulf of Maine. Why is this important? Well, this means that the storm doesn't slow down and stall until it gets a little bit further east. Still major problems for New England, but it kind of changes the dynamics for the northern Mid-Atlantic based on some of the guidance that we're seeing. And I don't think that the model guidance has this portrayed correctly just yet either, because of one of the factors I've been keeping an eye on. Okay, first of all, the winds here. Here's our first storm clearing out. Here comes our next storm. Strong easterly winds on Monday. This is rain on Monday for the coastal plain. By the time the storm shifts and we start to get the cold air transport, notice where our jet streak is located at. Well to the east over New England. So when you have this type of jet streak set up, this structure set up, as the storm is moving east, and again, it just keeps on lifting to the northeast and doesn't slow down until it gets to the Gulf of Maine. So why is this important? Well, when you're looking for your enhancement of heavy precipitation, you're going to look for right here. Not so much here. Here you're going to have a lot of subsidence and sinking air, but you have a lot of strong lifting here. So Connecticut, Massachusetts, and then up towards the Great White Mountains. That's where I think you see your jackpot in that evolution. And while we're studying that, we also have the first wave. This is with the subtropical shortwave. This is a storm coming into the west coast. There's our polar shortwave capturing it. Notice what's happening here. The PVA at 500 millibars is rapidly lifting and then pivoting northward. We're getting sinking air here. This feature right here is starting to capture this, and we're seeing a new development. So, on Tuesday morning, all your best lifting is here over New England, and you have sinking air here over the northern Mid-Atlantic. Same thing here. At 700 millibars and 850 millibars, it's all focused towards New England. Why is this important? Why is the sinking air important? Well, let's take a look at the boundary layer temperatures when we're supposed to have all this snow accumulation. Let's see here. Around Tuesday afternoon. I think the Monday forecast looks pretty solid. But your Tuesday forecast, say around 2 p.m. in the afternoon, all your temperatures around the northern Mid-Atlantic are marginal. Now, this could certainly support snow in the air, but the question is how much actually accumulates. That's the debate, because you don't have... Here's the influence of the strong lifting. You have your temperatures falling back to around freezing. This isn't a case of like, well, it's marginal 35, it's January. It's 36, 37, 38 degrees, a few 35s mixed in as well with some heavier precipitation, but it's not steady. The boundary layer is warmer, and your snow maps you're likely seeing floating around, and we'll continue to see floating around, don't account for this factor. So how do you measure it? And where do you put the best lifting and dynamics? So I think the best lifting and dynamics to overcome this environment is over Connecticut and Massachusetts, not over New York City, New Jersey, and Philadelphia. In fact, the way that this low pressure system develops in this storm would suggest to me that, hey, we're going to be dealing with some sinking air here. Because if you're having all this rising motion in New England, you're also going to have sinking motion to the southwest of that area. So, very complicated scenario playing out here with this storm. And so I've posted in the premium dashboard a preliminary idea of what to expect. Again, this is very preliminary. This is your best shot seeing 12 inches plus. I'm not saying this is what's going to be the forecast. I'm just saying preliminary ballpark idea. This is where I'm heading towards as far as where our potential lies. 6 inches plus over portions of Connecticut, northwest New Jersey. And a lot of this is from Monday. A lot of this is from Tuesday. Okay? And then this is for both time periods where you have basically rain going over to a wintry mix. But I have serious doubts in what the model guidance is trying to put out as far as resulting snowfall based on these boundary layer temperatures. So a very complicated forecast to say the least over the next couple of days. So let's walk through once again over the next couple of days. For today, our low pressure system continues to approach with increasing clouds. Look for periods of rain and snow developing this evening. Coastal plain is just rain. As you head off towards the interior, that's where you're going to see your snow. Temperatures will rise into the lower to mid 40s throughout the region today for highs. Tonight into tomorrow, our low pressure system exits with a rain-snow mix on the coastal plain. Not much in the way of any accumulation. Snow continues over the interior. Low temperatures in the lower to mid 30s over the interior and mid to upper 30s along the coast. For tomorrow afternoon, low pressure system continues to exit. A few lingering showers followed by clearing skies towards evening. High temperatures will range from the mid 30s over the northern interior, upper 30s to lower 40s around the New York City metro, and lower to mid 40s in the Philadelphia metro. On Sunday, our low pressure system is gone. We kind of have a break. High pressure is in control. That's going to lead to tranquil conditions. Low temperatures will range quite a bit depending on the snowpack. So look at lower to mid-teens for your higher elevations, especially around the Poconos, Catskills. Upper teens to mid-20s in your suburbs, and upper 20s to lower 30s along the coast and in your urban areas. High temperatures will rebound into the lower to mid-40s throughout the region, which also will help a great deal of a lot of that snow melt taking place. Then we get to Monday. Monday morning, our low pressure system around the Carolina coast begins to intensify. At this point, everyone at this point is above freezing on the coastal plain, but just around freezing over the interior. So you have increasing cloud cover with rain and snow developing. Rain on the coast, snow over the interior. On Monday, this is a highly elevation dependent storm. Okay, so anyone below 1,000 feet, this is rain. It's a cold, raw, ugly rain with a stiff easterly wind and just lousy SMARCH weather, okay? With waves of heavy rainfall expected, strong winds leading to the potential for some coastal flooding and also some wind damage potential. Low temperatures will range from the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior, mid to upper 30s along the coast. High temperatures will range from the mid to upper 30s over the northern interior, lower 40s along the coast. So, that's Monday. Now, this is where things get a little tricky. Our storm continues to march up towards the benchmark, 40 north, 70 west. And while that's happening, our polar shortwaves are trying to capture it. Notice the pressure here is trying to build backwards, right? You kind of have this trough. And the cold air starts to sink southward. Now, I certainly can see on Tuesday morning the precipitation for the New York City metro mixing over to snow. Absolutely. Whether that actually accumulates is a totally different question that we're still working out. As that low pressure system is rapidly intensifying, I like the idea of very heavy snowfall for the northern New Jersey, northwestern New Jersey, especially around Sussex, Hunterdon, those locations. I like northeastern Pennsylvania continuing with heavy snow, the Poconos, obviously, the Catskills, Hudson River Valley, much of Connecticut. and then lifting up into New England. Philadelphia metro, most likely scattered rain and snow showers. The temperatures are expected to range from the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior, mid to upper 30s along the coast. Again, very marginal temperatures, very wet snow. This is not a 10-to-1 ratio of snow. This is more like 8-to-1, unless you get under this intense lifting, which again is focused more towards New England. High temperatures ranging from the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior. During the middle of the day, when the majority of this snowfall is expected to really get its act together, you're going to be dealing with the March sun, and that's going to have a limiting factor, especially on pavement. Your high temperatures along the coast will be in the mid to upper 30s. So I think that you could see a lot of the forecasting questions involved. Either way, winds will be strong from the northwest, easily 10 to 20 miles per hour, possibly 15 to 30 miles per hour, with the potential for power outages. So not the best day for outdoor activities, traveling, or pretty much anything else on Tuesday. It's not looking good. This whole storm starts to exit on Wednesday with scattered cloud cover, a few lingering rain and snow showers in the morning. Look for low temperatures to range from the upper 20s to lower 30s over the northern interior, mid 30s along the coast. High temperatures will range from the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior, upper 30s to lower 40s along the coast. And we'll start to see a pretty steady melting of any snow that did fall. On Thursday, high pressure will be in control with scattered cloud cover. Low temperatures in the lower to mid 20s over the northern interior, upper 20s to lower 30s along the coast. High temperatures will range from the lower to mid 40s. And on Friday, high pressure will pass over the region with scattered cloud cover expected. Low temperatures ranging from the mid 20s to lower 30s throughout the region. High temperatures will range from the upper 40s to lower 50s over the northern interior, upper 40s to lower 50s along the coast, but mid to upper 50s in the Delaware River Valley. So this is going to be a complicated period of weather from today all the way on through Tuesday. So we'll be keeping an eye on this evolution. We'll be having live coverage for this evening, covering the storm on Twitter and on YouTube, and also by updating on the premium dashboard in the Discord. And also, of course, we'll be updating the forecast as it changes and provide the latest details. I think we'll flesh out the storm very nicely over the next 24 hours to nail down the details and start issuing more detailed maps on what to expect for Monday and Tuesday. Well, that's your forecast for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope I tried to explain all the volatile factors involved in this forecast. And as always, stay safe out there.